You've reached the HubSpot helpline. Helpline.
It's Rob, it's George, it's Casey, and Kyle. Come with a problem and leave with a smile. Every Friday at 3, come and join us as we help you with HubSpot. Open up your LinkedIn, just make sure you call in and leave a voicemail about HubSpot. Make your Friday divine with the HubSpot helpline.
Hello, world. It is the HubSpot helpline, and if you'll notice, the Imperial March music for Chris Carolyn has been turned off because we have none other than Kyle Jepson back with us today after a paternity leave that seemed like it lasted for 30 years. We miss you, Kyle.
Baby was born. He's healthy. He's growing a lot.
Nice.
Just kidding. That's a different kid.
I saw a movie like that, maybe The Island or something, but that was wild. No, that the baby, we saw the baby earlier. Baby is very cute. Baby was very sleepy. Baby looks healthy and good. Kyle, you look great, by the way.
Thank you. Here, he's parachuting in again.
There we
go. Open now.
There we go.
Benjamin.
Nice.
Hello.
Those are some big eyes too.
He's ready.
Nice. I love the name. I love the name, Kyle, because it's a little unknown fact what the B for George.
Oh no! Really?
It is George Benjamin Thomas. So
amazing.
There we go.
That's usually the opening I use is Casey, Greyhound of the Helpline, Hawkins, Chris, Mr. Profoundly Pro 4000, Carolyn, and George. The B stands for Bad Mama Jamma, or, we'd cycle it out. But apparently it stands for Benjamin. That bit is now destroyed. Kyle, you've been back a week. I'd like to ask, is the flood of all the stuff that you have to catch up with or prepare for inbound, how do you deal with that?
It is wild. So this is the second time I've done this to myself. When Grace was born, who is now 2, I went on leave and I came back 2 weeks before inbound and had 2 weeks to prep. That was 2023. And in 2023, it was a pinch. It was a rush, but 2 weeks felt about right, which is why I did it again this time. This time I came back on Monday and like the full structure of my inbound decks, I just threw out the window and I started over. My portal is incredibly beta bludgeoned right now. There is so much going on. Every day I learn about a new thing that is in the works. So there's a lot. What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time.
Well, it's crazy because I would have thought if you could have, I'm not well, yes, I am actually a betting man. I do like a casino every now and then, but not why we're here. Like, listen, I would have not bet that, 2 weeks before inbound, that this week we would have had customer platform shows that were like 8 updates, 11 updates, 14 updates. And I'm like, oh my God, can we slow down?
Right. And that's the stuff we're scooting out of the door before the code freeze goes in effect for inbound, right? Like we're not even seeing the big stuff yet. So George, I think it was at your show you ran at inbound. Remember a few of us sat on that cool stage they had last year.
Yep. The after hours show.
Yeah. And we said, right, I think Max Cohen was saying, at inbound 2023, it was pretty clear that HubSpot was just getting started in AI, and inbound 2024 was going to be more AI. Now we're sitting at inbound 2024. Anybody's guess what inbound 2025 will be. And I don't know what people's guesses have been, but there's just a lot happening.
Oh, without a doubt. It's going to be for so many reasons. It's going to be interesting platform wise. It's going to be interesting because of the place wise.
Yeah.
There's going to be a metric butt ton. A little birdie told me that there's a whole bunch of different kind of people who signed up to even be there. because we're
interesting.
on the West Coast. So you got to think different place, different people. And by the way, from last year, totally different platform. This year's
Yeah.
HubSpot is not last year's HubSpot.
No.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Well, not even this year. Oh, here he is, George, production.
Yeah.
There
Thank you. And Chris is here with we already messed up. I mean,
Yeah. We're in
Since
trouble.
Kyle mentioned that specific thing last year, I need to, and I still need to find this where I said it a couple times on lives in response to Max's comment of, we don't know what's going to happen next year. Something I said several times is that HubSpot will be the place where you log in and everything is just going to be contextually placed for you by AI.
Mm.
And user experience is going to be driven by AI. And I don't know if we're going to get all the way there, but I know we're going to get some of the way there.
I
So
mean, we're pretty stinking close. We're pretty stinking close.
it seems to get closer. But part of the transition there, whenever Chris barged in and said how right he was, shout out to Chris for doing that. But it was, you said last year's platform, last year's HubSpot, it's not this year's. Kyle, how long have you been out? Because I would doubt that earlier this year's HubSpot and platform isn't the same, even since you left, right? And so I don't know if you've
That's
put
fair.
a number
So,
on it
yeah,
with updates, but how many have there been in 3-4 months since you've been out? Because you
so
talked about
yesterday was Thursday. Benjamin hit 8 weeks of life. He came, sort of surprised us on a Thursday. That's why I missed the call-in show that particular Friday.
totally fair reason. We got over it. We got over it.
Yeah. So it's been 8 weeks. It's been not quite 2 full months. And I have an email folder. So when you log in to HubSpot and you go to the product updates page and you can see all the product updates, internally we have an email group where those just get sent, and I have a folder for it. And in 8 weeks, there were 150 emails that I missed.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, some of those are duplicates, right? It's now private beta, it's now public beta, it's now live, but
Sure.
not crazy to think more than 100 updates came out in 2 months.
Can I get specific for a second?
Please.
Before you left, Kyle, was there a video marketing platform inside your portal?
Not really. No.
Yeah.
That was one of the last things I learned about before I left. And I reached out to that team and I was like, I just heard you're working on this. I can't tell you how much I would love it if I, as a person who publish daily social videos, could just do that all inside of HubSpot. If I could record and edit and publish inside HubSpot, let me be your alpha tester. Let me be your guinea pig. I am so tired of downloading and uploading and importing and all this stuff.
Yes.
And they're like, great. Yeah, we can add you some beta. So I was like, oh, by the way, I'm about to leave for 2 months.
Well, guess what, Kyle? They've been busy while you were away. And they have, I mean, it has been pedal to the metal. And it's almost to the point where it's like Descript inside of HubSpot. It's crazy.
Yeah, I look forward to the day. My understanding, I have not actually this week gotten a chance to play around with it, so I do not know the current state. But there isn't any recording capabilities still, right? It's editing, transcribing, publishing.
Yeah, not recording.
But
that'll
still.
be dope. That will be super dope. But
if I could just someday hit record on my webcam inside HubSpot, wow. How many apps would we put out of business? I don't even know.
Well,
several.
I mean, and we've talked about that so many times while you've been gone, Kyle, of like, I've had the conversation of like, well, it's almost time for me just to get rid of Avoma because of what HubSpot has been doing with calling and transcripts and all of that. I've almost even pulled the trigger. Is it time for me to get rid of Zoom because of all the Google updates as far as like Google meetings and like auto recording? And now this has nothing to do with HubSpot, but now that Google Meet has annotation and you can actually like draw on your screen now. So like the whole tech stack, the world of tech stack is like, I swear HubSpot is doing its best to be like, how does it just become one, but then also the app ecosystem on that one as well?
Yeah, we should have turned this into a new segment presented by Profoundly called Catching Kyle Up.
What did I
even though
miss?
yeah, a ton of stuff. And so we've been discussing a lot of it. And with that come more problems, questions, needs, communal asks. And so if Chris, if you want to get us into one of those and put something up for us to read or direct me, I thought that was Chris knocking on the door from back in the green room, but maybe it was something else. We can start doing that because, yeah, to everybody's point, there's been a ton of stuff that's happened. We can almost do like in the last 8 weeks, right? Casey, since you live in beta world, what's something Kyle should know about? Pretend he knows nothing and he hasn't seen anything HubSpot in 8 weeks. Something that's happened recently that you feel like Kyle should know about.
I know. I already did this with Kyle on Tuesday.
That's true. No, and this has been the theme of the week. Monday morning briefing, I was just like, what did I miss? Tuesday, admin hug, I was like, what did I miss? And here still, I'm like, what did I miss? Because I have not heard everything yet.
I am still really excited about the CRM view all in the sidebar, which is what I demoed on the admin hug for Kyle. It's like it's
for everyone who wasn't there. This is view all properties. If you're looking at like a contact record or a company record, you have a little sidebar on the left where you see a curated list of properties. And if you want to see all of them, you've always had to click away into this full screen experience. Now you get like this slide out drawer on the right side of the screen. So go ahead, Casey.
Yes, thank you. And I feel like that one's funny because it's such like an admin thing to like also like.
Yeah. Well, this is part of what is so tricky for me as I'm prepping for inbound. Inside the walls of HubSpot, it's all about like, oh, what's going to be talked about from the stage? What are the big things we're announcing, right? But for my audience of admins, view all properties in a sidebar is huge, right? Like
it's so weird.
The conditionality for tabs, not having to have enterprise to have 10 tabs, right? Like these are the things admins care about, and they are never ever going to be mentioned on the inbound stage.
Nope.
And so I have to do this balance of like the nitty gritty little things that are coming out. The what did you say, George? Like 10 or 14 at a time.
Yeah.
Versus like everybody's going to hear the keynote addresses and be like, whoa, like they always are every year. And so my session also has to be like, here's the big stuff, but don't overlook this other stuff.
Yeah.
It's tricky.
So this is the new beta. You get to, it breaks out into the sidebar instead of it taking you to another screen. I also wouldn't be myself if I didn't also mention deal scoring.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay.
Speaking of being yourself, Casey, were you able to see today's show or pay attention to today's show? I know you weren't there, but
I didn't.
It
was a weird morning for me.
So you've got to check out because I think this is huge for admins as well. Since we're on like hey, what could Kyle talk about at inbound? Is now with lead scoring, you've got grouping changes.
Oh, I didn't know this.
The grouping amount and stuff and all of that.
Yeah, I just saw that recently. I haven't had a chance to play around with it.
Yeah, so the team actually showed me this before. So previously, if your score limit was 100, if you had two groups,
50-50, 60-40, 30-70. Yep.
Yes, exactly. But now it can be 100-100. So if you want to have one group, the use case, I talked to the lead scoring product manager a couple weeks ago, and she demoed this for me. And she explained the biggest use case for this being if you want to have one action, let's say your demo request, your pricing request form that monopolizes the score, gives 100%, 100 points. Now you can do that.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's pretty cool because if you think of like, there are all these little things that we know over time contribute to a higher score, but we know if you do this thing, we need to drop everything and talk to you right now. Yeah. You can now represent that.
So it's literally what we're talking about is it's the hand raiser group.
Basically,
it's the lead scoring group for hand raisers. They do this, boom, make it all happen. Yeah.
You do this little thing and this little thing and that little thing and that little thing and that little thing, or you raise your hand and you get a phone call from us. That's how it works. That's really cool.
You mentioned that. Chris mentioned this in the chat though, and I think we kind of just talked about it for a minute. But if there's any other examples that'd be helpful, it's balancing almost hype versus value, right? You mentioned it, the little things that you have to also include in your sessions versus what the keynotes are about, which seems more we're announcing this. It'll be ready and whenever. It seems like that is more hype and more promotional and more awareness than anything that's like an actual game changing in the details kind of thing, like you were just talking about. Anything else like that?
Yeah. Active list in campaigns. The
Oh,
way
very cool.
my God, the way that you should be thinking about your campaigns now, because of not just static but active lists, that's a huge piece for admins. Just campaigns in general over the last 3 to 6 months of like what it used to historically be versus now it can be like a sales, marketing, and service. Like,
Yeah, this year we've got
tool,
all kinds of sales activities in there, and
yeah,
external websites, and now external social posts also.
Yeah.
They are
yeah.
much more flexible. But I think you're right that active lists, that's not just like another new asset available in campaigns, right? Like this is a legitimately different way to think about what we can accomplish with this tool.
Yeah.
Well, even included in this could be, I would say, not net new updates or features, but things that people may have overlooked, forgotten, or kind of got blended in, right? Even talking about the video platform beta that you said, I'll sign up for it, and then ghosted and then had a baby for 8 weeks is something that people that aren't as near to this, right? George mentioned a new audience, new people, right? Think about people in Salesforce's backyard or in that area of the country coming over for the first time, and all of this is brand new to them, right? That's one of the things where a lot of this we've already celebrated, kind of tested and moved on from, I think would be a helpful reminder, almost from the course of the entire 2025 thus far.
Yeah, no, and that's, I mean, if we really do just want to turn this into like help Kyle write his inbound presentations that he'll be giving in less than 2 weeks.
I would love that.
The last few years, whether I've had one long talk or a series of talks, the format of my things every HubSpot admin needs to know sessions has always been, we're going to talk about implementing, we're going to talk about optimizing, then we're going to talk about troubleshooting. This year, the inbound team asked me to take a different approach and have a beginner's class and an advanced class. So I have one session called HubSpot Essentials, and I have another session called Advanced Topics. And that's really hard to define because everything in HubSpot is designed to be easy, fast, and unified, right? This is what we say all the time. And so like essential and advanced is hard, right? And in the context of inbound, where everyone will be buzzing about all the new stuff, to me today, what feels advanced is the stuff you've never heard of, right? There are plenty of admins who will come to my advanced session who know HubSpot in and out, but are like lost little lambs when it comes to these new features we're launching. And so helping them through that would be valuable, except there will be other sessions doing that exact same thing, right?
Yeah.
And there are, if we want to talk about HubSpot Essentials, I can't get distracted by like these shiny new things. I've still got to like lay this foundational groundwork of like, this is what it means to be in HubSpot, right? I got a LinkedIn message from a guy just today who's like, I followed you for a while because my marketing team uses HubSpot, but now we're leaving Dynamics to use HubSpot as our CRM. I am the sales operations guy. I am the admin. Where should I start? And I was like, I don't know. Tell me more about what you're doing. But yeah, like, what are those essential pieces? Every year there's more and more to HubSpot, and I still only have 45 minutes to talk, right? So
here's what's funny is there's all these things that we could be talking about that we have been talking about today. And I tell you that 90% of the room will still be using personas wrong.
I actually was going to say, I feel like personas are an advanced tactic.
I'm like, come on, like you gotta, I did a video, I put it on YouTube. I show you how to use it actually in the right way that makes sense for marketing and sales. Anyway, 90% of the room will still be using personas wrong. Here's the other thing, Kyle. If this doesn't make it into your deck somewhere, the fact that you can do custom properties in email now, and the fact that you can make these custom properties required in email when they're creating email for like organizations that have any type of like franchisee department, and now all of a sudden you want them to like add certain information in so that you can report better based on these conglomerates of folks that could be using the email tool inside of HubSpot. Like,
yeah, no, that's actually a really interesting point. I think just before I went out, we got custom properties for workflows, right? And like, just to define, what is this workflow for, right? Like, is this, what team are we solving for? Who's owning this or whatever? Like, that's a new way of thinking about assets inside HubSpot. And I think that is really important to highlight.
Go ahead, Casey.
Sorry. The advanced tactics like that come to my mind are custom calculated fields. So that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
And roll-ups.
And roll-ups, that one too. Custom coded workflow actions. I personally, as someone that's RSVP'd for your event, would like for you to help me with. If you
that
could,
one's
a little section for just
that. So let me dig into that a little bit, because when it comes to things like custom coded workflow actions, for me as a person who is not a coder, that feels incredibly advanced, right? There's this whole skill set that I don't have that I need in order to do stuff inside HubSpot. Wow,
Yeah.
I just like went to heaven or something.
Yeah,
Okay, there we go. But wow, like,
Don't do that.
I can't teach you the basics of Python or like any JS node or something from the stage menu, right? So
Right.
like,
am I foolish to believe that AI can help me do this
It
though?
can help
No.
you do that.
I just haven't figured. I just like there's something missing, and I don't know what it is.
Like I've literally had it help me. Like somebody came, they had somebody write some custom code. It wasn't working that they wanted. I copied that. I pasted it in ChatGPT. I said, hey, we actually want this to also send an image along the way. It rewrote the code. I pasted it in. The client tried it and it fixed it. So yes, AI can help you do this. But Kyle, we'll be best friends forever if you'll just ask one question in any session, in any of your sessions. I just want you to get up and be like, by a show of hands, how many of you in the room know what an action set is?
oh, action sets. Oh my goodness. I was so excited when those came out. And see, there have been so many new things in the last year and a half, whatever it's been. Totally forgot about those. Right. And that is such a critical component for admins to know about.
Yep.
Also, Kyle, this is more of a like a larger question. How do you prioritize?
Can you just do these things for me?
Hey,
No.
I will just do the Kyle talks to Casey 45 minutes.
I'll go up on stage. You don't have to beg me. So how do you prioritize in these talks, like the different hubs and the tools available in those hubs? Like we all know most HubSpot customers have Marketing Hub, but obviously there's a lot of service tools now, the Content Hub tools and things like that.
Yeah, no, and this is a question I'm asking myself. And historically, because there are two things that are true. One is if I spend my whole time on stage talking about Content Hub or Operations Hub, I'm going to alienate the vast majority of the audience. They're going to be like, why? Right? Like I could teach myself how to use Operations Hub Enterprise to connect HubSpot to Snowflake and like help 3 people in the room, right? So that's clearly wrong. But if I just spend all my time talking about Marketing Hub and or Sales Hub, then like the people who use those tools and the advanced users who could benefit from using those tools, the people who actually like understand these stuff, then now they're like, okay, Kyle, tell me something I don't know, right? And so it is a balance. I do disproportionately weight Marketing Hub, Sales Hub, and now I'm thinking one of the big questions is how much do I talk about Service Hub? But I think those 3 are always going to be pretty core, because it's really hard for me to imagine someone not having Marketing Hub, not having Sales Hub, not having Service Hub, but coming in and buying Operations Hub, right? Like, what would that do? Or like Content Hub even, right? Like, that's not.
Oh, don't get Chris. Chris is going to come in and
Really. Oh, here we go. Oh,
Here we go.
So, all right.
Clearly, you can't talk about all 6 hubs in a way that can serve effectively in 45 minutes.
Right.
Especially like here we are, like digging into tools and features and functionality. How do you fit in a brand new intelligence layer
Right.
that exists? Like, I want to hear like, how does Copilot not make an appearance at each level
Right.
like, of the talk?
Yeah,
right?
and this is one thing that's making it really hard for me to structure these talks. It used to be really clear, really easy for me speaking at Inbound or anywhere else to be like, let's talk a little about marketing. Let's talk a little bit about sales. These hubs are kind of mapped to your role, right? And to certain aspects of your business. But we are starting to have divisions. There were a few that were hard, like workflows was never tied to one particular hub, right? Reporting was never tied to one particular hub. But so I could kind of go hub by hub and have 2 or 3 kind of platform level features. Now there are so many platform level features and there are so many hubs. This is the question, Chris. This is why I am sweating.
Chris, here's the thing. Since Kyle's sweating, let's make him sweat some more.
Oh boy.
Because here's the thing. Many admins that are going to be sitting in your rooms are going to have questions around seats. They're going to have questions around credits.
Yep.
And how do they manage these seats and these credits that we've been given? And they're going to have questions around, why can't I see sequence analytics if I'm a super admin and I don't have a sales seat? Like, so there's just some fundamental foundational pieces along with all the, like, here's the buttons that you push and things that you can do that like, listen, you could probably have a 45-minute session alone on HubSpot credits. When, where, why, how, and who.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah. And even just like, I mean, to your point of seats and things, like we could just pull up HubSpot's pricing page and fill an hour, right?
Without a doubt.
It wouldn't be interesting. It wouldn't be engaging, but it would actually be really useful for a lot of people if they would sit and listen.
I mean, if you're doing it, would probably be engaging. I think you could make it engaging. I've been to your sessions before.
Thanks, I appreciate that. But that's not how I want to spend my time on the Inbound stage, right? And
Kyle could read the phone book for 45 minutes and I'd come listen to it. So yeah, he definitely could make it interesting.
But like,
how do you want to spend your time, Kyle? Like, what is the biggest gap that if you didn't have to care about everything else that was going on at Inbound, whether or not other people were talking about it?
Well, that's a tricky thing, right? Because I have built my career and my personal brand on helping people keep up to date with HubSpot releases, right? So Inbound for me is like going to Disneyland, right? Because there's all these cool things that are happening and they're new, and I want to help people understand them. I want to help them understand how this fits into the larger picture. But at the same time, my heart is always really with the person who comes to Inbound and is like, I up until last week, I thought HubSpot was just a marketing platform, and now we bought it as our CRM. And I came to this conference hoping you could teach me what that means, right? And like, if I'm going deep into some crazy new thing, they're left out. And so I appreciate this division between essentials and advanced. But honestly, like I'm so excited about all these things that are new and interesting. That's all I want to talk about. But that's not. There are other people at Inbound who are going to do that. I think this year at Inbound, it's going to be covered pretty well. And so I need to ask myself, if we didn't release all this stuff, what would I talk about? And it's hard because I've been out for 8 weeks. I don't even remember.
Kyle, what I love about your statement, though, and your answer there is like you're focused on the humans.
Yeah.
Chris, ask me what I want to talk about when I go to Inbound.
George, what do you want to talk about at Inbound?
I want to talk about cigars. I want to talk about Jesus. I want to talk about my kids. I want to talk about where we're going to go out to eat. Now, Chris, ask me what I'm going to actually talk about.
What are you actually going to talk about, George?
I'm going to talk about what the humans need, what the humans need to hear. I'm going to talk about the things that will invoke an impact, will be a catalyst for their future growth. You see, so like that's where Kyle's in a pickle because he needs to know what they need to know, but he also needs to know what's changed for what they need to know. That's the pickle that he's in right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
Let me try to make that easier because I guarantee either you're going to get this question or we know all the admins are asking it. Hey, man, all these AI tools, Breeze Copilot, we got a nice, cleanup center.
Yeah.
I thought I was supposed to be doing that as an admin. What am I going to do now, Kyle?
Take a nap.
What?
I said take a nap.
Take a nap. so it's interesting. Let me step away from talking about HubSpot for just a minute so I don't accidentally wander into saying things I'm not allowed to say. But like in my own personal journey with AI, right? I now Perplexity is my default search engine. I've been playing around with ChatGPT 5, right? I have learned that these tools are really good and incredibly fast at doing some things I'm very bad at. But there's some basic human, like, it's hard for me to say this because I feel like for my entire adult life, I've been screaming at the internet, your opinions don't matter. But now your opinions are all that matter, right? Like, you have opinions, you have experience, you have insights. You are not just crunching numbers. You are not just projecting charts and dragging out the spreadsheet. You as an admin know what your company has tried before. You know what works, what didn't work. You have at times
Discretion.
Yourself or the leaders of your team, you've seen them make counterintuitive choices, and sometimes they've paid out in spades, right? And so you can turn to AI and you can say like, hey, here's the strategy we're thinking about. How can I draft this into an executive summary, right? AI will be great at that. But if you turn to AI and say, hi, what should I do next with my company? How do we get to our next stage of growth? AI is going to tell you something that is, even if it's well cited and founded in research it did, is nothing compared to what you already know. And so I think to now go back to HubSpot, we are going to continue to invest heavily in AI. We are going to continue to invest heavily in making HubSpot easy and fast. And for so long, because HubSpot was so easy, people said we don't need admins in the first place. Now we've kind of come around, I think, for the most part. People admit HubSpot admins exist finally. But it's just the same worry again. What if HubSpot becomes too easy and we don't need our admins anymore? What if it becomes too automated? We don't need our admins anymore. I don't think that's where we're headed. I don't think even our biggest customers have like teams of 150 admins, right? If so, maybe those will start shrinking a bit because they can be more efficient. But you're always going to need at least one brain focused full time on making sure this system is aligned with your business objectives. And that's just not a thing you should want to offload to AI.
Yeah.
I don't think
The first 5 minutes of each of your talks need to be that.
Yeah.
No joke.
So
I was trying to figure out what to call this because Casey mentioned this earlier. She's mentioned it a couple of times. Like, I would love to know more about custom coded workflow actions. I'm just not a developer. Thanks. Shout out to our sixth panelist on the show, Claude and Chris, for making me start using this. I was trying to figure out a way to ask this question, but what it spit out was that HubSpot is now facing an interesting democratization versus sophistication paradox, where the platform has gotten so robust and capable of handling things as it moves up market that it's hard to have a platform that's so easy to use, which it is, and have like entry level stuff happen versus something that would require a developer or something that's more specialized and across. So
and to take it back to custom coded workflow actions, 10 years ago, when I was hoping to get a job at HubSpot, something I did to make myself stand out as a entry-level support rep candidate was I did a little online education to learn some basic coding, right? I learned Python, learned a little bit of Ruby, learned a little bit of JavaScript, and I was never very good at it. I'm not a slow and methodical and careful enough person to realize when I have left off a semicolon at the end of a line, right? But what I learned was how to take a problem and analyze it in a new way. And the thing that was the most fun for me in that like 6-month learning journey, whatever it was to think like, can I make a program that finds the lowest common denominator between two numbers? Or can I make a program that validates whether a credit card number is valid? And I would just like kind of sketch it out. I wouldn't write the code. I'd be like, oh, I need this variable, and I'd do a loop here, and then the output would be here. And I'd be like, yeah, I can solve that problem in that way. And when it comes to custom coded workflow actions, that is a skill set I think admins just need to develop. Understand what can be solved in this way. Build in your brain these heuristics that are, first of all, is this a good thing to automate with a workflow or not? And second of all, do I need some sort of custom code to do this? And if you can get to that point, then absolutely Claude or GPT can write the code for you.
Yeah.
But I think what is hard is that initial hurdle. And honestly, I haven't touched coding since I got hired, so I've forgotten most of these skills. But when I look at a custom coded workflow action, it's just a wide open field. The limits are imperceivable to me, right? I can do anything with this little box on my screen. Where do I start? And that's the wrong way to go about it, right? You need to have some sort of problem or goal and understand like, ooh, how can I go about this? And be able to decide like, yes, a little bit of code in a workflow would get me there.
There's two things I want to double down on. One, and if you're a developer watching this or listening to this, all the hate mail goes to Chris at I believe that we have entered a world where if you know the brick, the mortar, and the trowel, you can take all those tools. You don't have to see this. Here's the thing. When people look at coding, they're like, I need to know how to build the whole building. No, we're at a point where if you know the brick, the mortar, the trowel, you can throw that into GPT or an assistant and it can build the building. You just need to know the fundamental pieces is what I'm trying to say there, right? Because again, I have built things without knowing all the things that were actually working things when they got done. I'm like, oh my God, how did that just happen? But it's because I knew a little bit enough to get us there. The other thing is I got to circle way back around. Kyle, great minds think alike. You said your opinions do matter. We're entering a world where the humanness is the side of this. The you as the human. Chris, can you please share what I have had on my screen? I wrote while you were gone, Kyle, this article about the messenger economy, why who you are matters more than what you say. And I would just beg anybody who's curious about this, like the importance of your humanness in an AI powered, AI first. I like to say AI assisted, but this is the message that's been putting out of the world of who you are, how you need to show up, and why is so important moving forward. Just take time to check this article out. That's all I'm asking, because it is in the same vein of what you were sharing, Kyle, of like, you do matter, and those things in your brain do matter a lot right now to go in conjunction with what everybody is trying to use as far as a set of tools. Yeah, well, for another tangential example of AI and does it replace people or not, I don't remember when this was, a few months ago, as I was in bed trying to fall asleep, I got this idea for a board game, just like a 2-person strategy game like checkers or chess or something. And I was just mulling it over in my mind. And I was like, I think this would be really simple and actually really fun. And so like I went to Claude and I said, hey, I have these ideas. Can you help me formalize this into instructions? And Claude was a great companion, started giving me, and I made a little mock-up and I played it with my 11-year-old son. And we both agreed it was really fun. And then I went back to Claude and was like, it feels like some of the mechanics of the game are not quite working. Can you help? And so Claude started giving me advice. And I sat down with my 11-year-old son and I was like, now I've got the perfect version of the game. And we started playing. And my son was like, it's not fun anymore, Dad. Right? Oh,
like, what Claude can't understand is this enjoyable? Right? What would it take for AI to understand that? Right? Like AI can write you a recipe. And then can you say, but does it taste good? And I'll be like, never tried it myself. I don't know. Yeah. Right. And as admins, you're designing experiences for people. Right. And like, if you rely heavily on AI, you might find something super efficient, super lean, super automated that you wouldn't have thought of. But like, is it helping your employees connect with your customers and provide an excellent experience for them? AI cannot tell you that. Right. And we as humans, we just viscerally know this. We don't even know how we know it. We could just be like, this is not making me happy, right? And so you gotta, if you're making a game, you gotta play test it, right? And if you're making a system, you gotta talk to the people the system is for. And so I don't know who this LinkedIn user is that says HubSpot's easy to use. It's also easy to screw up. And that's why admins are so critical. Absolutely right, right? Like sometimes you just gotta be the person who can be like, wait a minute, have we really thought this through? Because when I talk to Claude, Claude's always like, you know, it would be fun. Yeah, that's a great idea. Let's do it even more. Let's make it even bigger. And that's not always what you need.
Yeah.
I said this while you were talking, and I don't know if it's taste, partially that, but discretion, right? Of like knowing when to and when not to. You just said even in that example that you had an idea and that was how you started it. And so then you went to Claude to prompt it out. But like the taste and discretion thing, George, I see you smiling. Part of this and kind of like I wonder the impacts of not failing. Like think if AI just fixed things, cut off all the time it took to like grind through and learn and absorb and fail and make mistakes and then get a little bit better. And then if that's wiped out, it's almost, Kyle saying it can think of the best, most optimal way to do it. What about marriage, right? Like some of the best parts are the time spent and the suffering and the like shared, like you build stuff like that, the experience through camaraderie. So I just wonder the impact on removing any obstacle all the time. You know what I mean? Like that's very interesting to me.
You don't want to do that. First of all, failure is lessons learned. Like if you try to go through your use of AI, your use of HubSpot, your use of life, your whatever, and you're like, zero failure rate. Sorry. You're a couch potato watching Netflix all day, drinking like pop and Snickers. You're not doing anything.
Here's impact of failure.
The only thing you're failing is yourself if you're worried about failing, because like it's lessons learned. And so no, just no. And that's actually one of the things that I love about AI is I can find failure faster, and then I can start over. And then I can try a different road and I can find if that works or failure. Oh, she's really, again. So, but let me finish this because the reason I was snickering though is because Kyle's like, you as a super admin spend time making this super streamlined, super automagical like thing that. And I was waiting for Kyle to end with, and it tastes like crap. Because we really had like this food analogy and like, you know what I mean? Like your team thinks it's like garbage. It's split pea soup. Like, here's where my brain goes the whole time we were having that conversation. You mean it hasn't changed? You mean the one thing that is still the same is that we should have strategy before execution?
Yeah.
We should have goals before we start coding?
This is the tale as old as time problem with adoption, right? Like it works great in theory, is not a good way to build a business, right? And HubSpot, I mean, when you work with AI stuff, that's all theory. That's all it is. That's all it can ever be.
Yeah.
Chris,
you
I
was coming in to support George, like the fail faster comment, right? Like, because up until that point, George, I was feeling this was very binary conversation.
Yep.
That your choice is either to just give AI the reins or not. Like protect yourself because the humans, know what's going on. Yet we have 50% adoption of CRM, right? And those challenges and obstacles, not everybody's built to actually overcome them. So what happens? They don't. And then teams don't use the system. And like we're talking about all these use cases right now for AI. Almost everything we've talked about has been outside of HubSpot. I use Claude for this. I coded this. I did this thing. Breeze Copilot.
Yeah.
Like all the things we're talking about right now, you can do it inside of your portal with Breeze Copilot in terms of, hey, I feel like this is happening in our HubSpot portal right now. Breeze, I think this could be like maybe something we can improve. What do you think? What are you seeing, Breeze? And then it can talk to you about your portal in ways that when I was in an org, like brought in to lead marketing, so many people, you're the only HubSpot guy. You're the only person in the org and you don't have anybody else to talk to. That's why that's like Sprocketeer is so powerful. That's why LinkedIn's powerful and the community is so powerful. But when it's divorced from the business context, the community can only do so much help.
So hang on, Rob. Chris, you just blew my mind because I go full circle. By the way, Kyle, before you left or while you were gone, like, had they completely revamped and rebuilt Copilot, or was that why you were gone?
No, that happened just before I left. And Chris, I think this is actually a really important thing. And this is a thing I will likely be saying if I can find the time. There's a really fun video I want to make before inbound hits, because Copilot is super smart now.
Yes.
Like when it first rolled out, it was not good. And that was HubSpot failing forward. And we did, right? It is great now. And I think a lot of people who tried it a year ago or whatever are just like, well, I tried that once and it's not good, right? But like, I literally today went to Copilot and said, hey, I am a company that I offer music lessons in home. I match instructors to students. Can you please make me a lessons object that associates with contacts with label for instructor and label for a student? And can you add a couple of properties for what instrument it is and how frequently the lesson happens? All one prompt, and it said yes, and it did it, right? Pretty nuts.
Yeah.
And like it was cool. It was conversational. It was like, do you also want me to make a property for this and that? And I was like, well, no, but actually the one you made, could you actually let's rename it to this, you know? And like it feels great. And I still made the decisions, right? I still architected this. But how often in your life have you said like, hey, can I get a second set of eyes on this, right?
Yep.
And now you are your own second set of eyes. You say, hey, AI, go do this thing for me. And it comes back and says, did I do it right? And now you're checking your work in a way you probably wouldn't have before, because your brain's in a different place when you're like, oh, someone else made this. I better look for mistakes, right?
Yeah. Can I tell you, I
wild.
got to share this with you because you just sparked my brain on something that I have found myself doing much more often in the last probably 30 to maybe even 60 days, is I will literally prompt, I need you to be completely honest and tell me if this idea is crap. Like I'm like trying to get it to not be nice sometimes, where it's like I just need it, and it'll say like, no, I don't think it's crap, or actually, you know what, this is how we can make it better. Like trying to be against myself in the thing that I think is awesome to see how well it stacks up. And what I love about what you were sharing and why my brain went there, Kyle, is it's like it is a true interactive experience.
Yeah. Well,
you even said, hey, actually, but can we rename this thing?
Yeah. And that's what's really interesting for me as a people pleaser, right? As a youngest of 6 children who just wants everyone to laugh and be happy and have a good time together, and who makes a living putting on a silly orange hat and jumping up and down. You may not be surprised to learn I have trouble challenging people, right? If someone presents something to me or asks for something, or gives me feedback, I have a very hard time being like, have you really thought this through? I'm always like, oh, okay, yep, good, yep, we'll make it work, right? But like, I have some intuitive sense that AI is not a human, and it will answer my questions. It'll give me what I asked for, and I'll be like, hold on just a minute, I think this could be better. Can we alter it this way? No, I think that thing you said is actually not true. Can you double check it, right? I'm getting good at challenging, right? It will be a long time before I challenge a human in a meaningful way, but maybe I am building that skill, right? And that's very exciting to me.
That's what I use Chris Carolyn for. Is he is pretty straightforward with.
We love him for that.
He came in and then left.
I know we don't have like enough time to really get into this, but Chris, can you put my screen up? So there's 2 updates from like the last week or so that are very much powered by Breeze. The first one being prospect using buying signals in sales workspace, and the other one is conversation powered deal risks and buyer goals. These are like huge updates, but as we were all discussing, CRM adoption rates often are low. And I have one client who both of these updates, they have asked me to build these things manually. And I like this week was like, great news. It just happens in HubSpot, but it doesn't, because they have such a low CRM adoption rate that we don't have data to.
There's no data. Yeah.
There's no data.
I think you've mentioned this too. This was talked about several times by George and AI George and Kyle. Is it like fail faster, right? Like mistakes is growth. I think part of AI and what I've found useful, Chris mentioned, like that's the power of Sprocketeer. It's the power of community. you almost have like a built-in community, because a lot of times, to your point, HubSpot admins or people that are in that space are kind of on an island. Like there's one person there. And so your options were to either like get invested in a community and ask and reach out to whoever for feedback, and to be able to learn, fail, and then fail faster so that you can learn faster, like evolve your skill set faster. But the community part, and part of what this is, and part of why everybody on this call does a fantastic job, as my phone rings, is that you can, Mr. B said something with like about becoming viral. I've seen a lot of his interviews. I have 4 kids, you know, the whole thing. As he said, as a dropout, he got with a group of tight-knit people that were doing videos, and they learned 4 times as fast because they shared all their failures with each other so that they could upskill that much faster. That is now, I think, what you have multiple options, but now AI built in allows for you to learn quicker. The behavioral psychology of this is, if Kyle wakes up and is a sales rep and does something wrong at 8:01 in the morning, and he doesn't get feedback or corrective measures until his one-on-one or a week later or that night, it's not helpful. It doesn't change behavior.
Mhm.
And so like feedback being a gift is something we believe in, Super believes in. And it's not a gift if it's not done real time. It doesn't cause behavior change. And if adoption is the goal, the end state, to get data so that you can make informed decisions, that type of feedback instantly, you know, quote unquote, from AI and from whatever else is really, really powerful in order to improve adoption rates, thus, you know, generate all the data for reporting that you need. So I wanted to mention that. George, I had a question for you too. And I think Kyle can maybe weigh in on this, but I think you said your talks were going to be about cigars and whatnot. And then what you're actually, that's what you wanted to talk about, but your actual talks are about what humans need. Yeah. Can you flip that around? What does the CRM need? Like, not as far as product, but like, how can a user or admin impact? Like, what does the CRM need to be used well?
Yeah, the CRM needs better humans. The CRM needs humans that will buy in. The CRM needs humans that are willing to learn, have a growth mindset. Like, listen, the CRM's been sitting there for years waiting for you to get the best out of it. But so many humans just stand in their own way because they think it needs to be done the old way, or they think that they'll break it somehow, or there's just a lot of limiting beliefs around what it is and what they can get out of it. So I'll just make it short and simple, even though I haven't. It's like the CRM needs better humans.
What about better idea? Like that you're exactly right, but there's probably a better parallel than this. But you know, chess has been around for however long, and it wasn't popularized. Let's just say Magnus Carlsen. There's just for the point, Magnus Carlsen came around a couple of years ago. Now he's #1. Now chess is in vogue. Like again, so that was just somebody else put into that situation where the game, the sport, like chess is now beyond what people thought it could be. You could put that in terms of a product or a feature, but if I hop in with a video editing tool, right, to HubSpot, and it is now more like Premiere at some point, though that's powerful in that better humans, yes, smarter humans, yes, more creative humans, right? Like whenever you have something that has become more functional and it can now be used in a different way, I think that not only will attract talent, specifically the developing part, right? That's what I was talking about initially. But that kind of stuff, I think, will unlock parts of the CRM and functionality that hasn't been considered yet. Is that a possibility?
Yeah. Go ahead, Kyle. I have thoughts, but go ahead. And I also am looking at what time it is. But go ahead.
Yeah, we're almost done here. I have kind of a hot take. This is a thought I've never had before. So I'll share it here, and maybe I'll fail forward. We'll see. For so long, the quality of the data and the amount of data inside your CRM was entirely dependent upon the sales people, right? Like they had to manually record their emails and summarize their conversations and check a box to say I had a phone call, right? And they never did. There was no advantage to them. The whole reason CRM existed was so the sales leadership could have charts, and that was not good motivation for the sellers themselves. And in the summer of 2015, when I joined HubSpot and I was supporting this brand new CRM that had been on the market for less than a year, one of the feature The only feature was it automatically logged emails from Gmail and Outlook, right? And we would tell people, like, look, just turn it on and pretend like you don't have a CRM. Keep doing what you've been doing, and then come back later and see what a CRM looks like when it has data in it. Fast forward to today, George, you mentioned in passing, like auto-recorded, Zoom calls or other kinds of video calls, right? Like so much of this data, if you just do your job as a salesperson or whatever kind of person, it flows in as long as the admin has turned it on, right? Yeah. I think the burden of having data inside the CRM has moved from the frontline sales team, customer success, customer service teams to the admins and the leaders to actually have these features and turn them on. Once that data is pooling in, all these tools, the ones Casey mentioned and others, will work and be amazing. But until that data is there, and it is we're no longer in a world where we're like, okay, let's retrain your sales team. Let's retrain the support team. Let's make them work in a different space in a different way so that this can be recorded somewhere. It's just about connecting all the different systems so that it's automatically recorded somewhere. And now you've got data and you can do magic.
Yeah. Rob, I'm going to be late for my meeting. I have to throw this out there. First of all, let's just break down CRM. Customer. I bet if you go into 90% of the portals, you have more data for non-customers than you do for actual customers. Oh. So is it really a customer relationship management system? Also, I will tell you this, relationship. You and your sales process and your marketing process is more transactional than it is relational. So it's the wrong word for the middle letter as well. And managers, everybody hates their managers. They want to be independent humans. So we want to get buy-in on something that's half being used, not even the right thing that we're doing, and something that we don't like. That's what we need. We need a different word for whatever the frick CRM actually means. Clip that.
Clip that. That was beautiful. George is walking to his next meeting. I mean, when I was redoing the narrative, like the tagline or something that struck me as what I would like for it to be is like a true CRM is a quantitative reflection of the qualities of your customers. And if it's not 100%, then you're missing something. So to cap this off, my wife's in the other room. One of the best sales individuals I've ever met. She's empathetic. She cares a lot. She's not the best at data entry. So what that does is allow people with true skill sets to not be hampered or in trouble or on a pit, like that kind of thing, because of the data entry. Right. I think that's kind of where we're moving to.
How about conversation recording maximization?
There we go.
Something different. Because the words that we use now don't make no sense for what's actually happening in the ecosystem.
That is true. Well, George, we don't want you to be late, even though you already are. Thanks for joining us, Kyle. We are so glad to have you back. We'll see you next Friday, Kyle. And we'll see you at Inbound. Everybody have a great Friday, and same time next week.
Hello, you've reached the HubSpot helpline. Helpline.
It's Rob, it's George, it's Casey, and Kyle. Come with a problem and leave with a smile. Every Friday at 3, come and join us as we help you with HubSpot. Open up your LinkedIn, just make sure you call in and leave a voicemail about HubSpot. Make your Friday divine with the HubSpot helpline.